guys, Wade Crow here, and this is the Musician's Journey Journal. Don't know why I decided to call it that, but that's what it is. But I think we'll just call it the Musician's Journal for now. My name's Wade Crow. You can go to wadecrowaudio.net, or sorry, wadecrow.net, or go to YouTube, Instagram, I think even TikTok I'm on now. Wade Crow Audio, check me out, like up, follow, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube. It helps me to, sort of be more encouraged to make more content. And today we're going to be looking at just how to put a mix together. I won't be going too deep into this today because when you're rendering video for this sort of thing, it takes a fair bit, so I don't want to waste too much of your time. But there are a few important little things probably we can look at, and how to set up a mix, how to get it to pre-mastering stage. Okay, now a lot of my video, a lot of my content I'm going to be focusing on is for a lot of us musicians who you may have a few gigs, or you may not be at that yet. You may be a solo musician, pianist, whatever you're doing. There are ways to try to get yourself more attention. It's not just social media. I'm going to cover things about other little sort of tools on the web, websites and things. Have you been to radio stations? How did you deal with radio stations to try and get your music played? What were you able to present with them? Are you at that stage yet? Are you working on some productions and things? So this is all the kind of thing that I'm going to be covering in this Musician's Journal. So today we're going to just have a bit of a look. This is episode 2. Going to have a look at how we can put a session together. You might be just starting to record, and that's fine. You might learn a little bit from this as well. And just some of the things that I've done to set myself up. So when you're doing a recording for a song, depending how many tracks you got, it's all relative, and it depends on what DAW you're using as well, which digital workstation you're using. I use Protools, so I think it's 12.8, 12.5, something like that, and I've kind of kept it at that. It does everything I need to do, and it always stays pretty stable. Okay, so I'm going to show you this mix. I'm going to switch over, and you'll just hear my voice. Okay. Okay, so it's just a little easier for me to do it this way, and so I'm not sort of getting in the way of the mix. But here we have a mix that is basically almost ready to go to mastering. But what I have to do before I do that, when I'm doing an album, I actually basically make each song, I get it to a point where I'm happy with the near final mix, and I kind of just leave it for a little while and go record something else. When I come back to it and get it ready for mastering, I'm fresh, I can hear new problems or any kind of issues that I might have with it, and I'm able to work with it that way. Okay, so why don't we first look, when I do a template, what I might do is, I might hide all these first. This is my standard template, and you can make a template in Pro Tools. You can probably make them in Ableton, Reaper, all those sorts of things as well. You should be able to make a template. So I'm just going to show you my template. Now, some of these things could not be active. That's basically because I'm not using Waves plugins that much anymore. There is one or two things they have that's really good, but I'm just not going to use it at the moment. So this, as you can see, this is my template, and basically I've saved this all the time. Not so much all the plugins, they basically come without plugins, okay, but all the channels, all the color coding, the master channel in the center, and this, of course, at the end. If you don't know what this is called parallel compression. I don't always use it, but it can be useful just to fill out your mix a bit more, but we're not going to worry about that at the moment. And in fact, I might just put these away because I don't want to confuse you. So there's your end master track, all right? So basically what we have is we have our drum section. This is my print channel. We have the bass, okay? We have rhythm guitar 1s, the print channel, rhythm guitar 2, the sub and the print channel. We have acoustic guitar set up. I have lead guitar 1 set up. I have lead guitar 2 set up. Another 12-string set up, and 2 lots of keys. Now you probably notice I don't have vocals in here, but I can actually change if I want to. I can kind of change these to vocal. or I can just add some vocals. It's just that I don't sing very much at all, so I don't put vocals in, but it's very easy if I want to add them. It's very quick. Okay, so why don't we have a look at some of these channels we got here. You'll notice that most of these I just have the 2 audio channels. I have 3 effect channels, which is usually some kind of effect I might want, a delay and a reverb. I don't always use all these all the time, but they're there if I need them. And then I have a sub channel, okay, which is where I get the final kind of sound before I print it. All right. If I go over here, I'll use one that I'm actually using. If we have a look at our guitar channels, I have my sub, and then I have the audio. Let's have a look and see what this audio is. So here's my audio, okay. So essentially we have rhythm guitar 1 and 2. Normally when I'm recording, I pan these straight up the center, and when I listen back, I hit them hard left, hard right. All right. I have my effects and I have my reverb. Because it's rhythm guitar on these ones, I don't really bother putting in a delay really, because I don't like delay on rhythm guitar that much. It depends on what I'm doing, but I generally don't have it. But I do have an FX channel, and at the moment running this one is a Sans amp plug-in. I think that comes standard with Pro Tools, I'm not sure. Then we have the sub here. I've basically deactivated the sub, and so the situation is, what happens when I'm recording these, and I'll just use guitar as an example. Generally speaking, so I have my 2 guitar channels, they're audio channels, and that's coming from my audio interface, right? So is this one, come from channel 2. So I basically have 2 channels running into, so if you had 2 microphones, you're going to have one on the left, one on the right, if you're putting them in front of your amp. Okay, that's basically why I do it. I actually run my amp a different way, and I still have a left and a right, so I can just run it in to my audio interface, left, right, record them separately, and just have a nice fuller sound. So I'm sort of doing some multi-track recording there. Right. I then have a pre-channel setup for each bus, okay, each effects bus. Right, 7 to 0, pan it hard left, pan this one hard right, as you can see. Now the reason I put on the pre is because what I want is when the sound comes down, I want that normal natural sound to come out of here and be diverted to the next track, which is like an effects or a reverb. Okay, so the sound comes from my guitar, my audio interface, into here, and a part of it gets sent here, and a part of it goes straight through to the normal channel over to my sub. All right, and then they all blend up. When they're all finished, they all blend up on my sub channel, which is here. And I have on this one, for instance, Slate tools. I use Slate a lot. They're really awesome tools. So I put on a bit of a gate. I've got a bus mixer here, bus channel. Right? I have some effects that I can sort of fine tune it with. And I also have a compressor and a trimmer in case I need it. All right? The next thing I have also is my red compressor. I love the red compressor. I don't push it too hard. There's a ratio 2 to 5, so 2.5 to 1, sorry. Auto release sometimes. I don't always use auto release. Got a bit of makeup gain there, all right. And basically all this sound, this guitar is coming through this channel and basically going to this one here, all right. But there's something I want to do before that. And basically what it is when all my sound, all the mixed sound of this guitar is coming through this channel, I want to actually print that. So what I do, I have outboard gear, all right? Now there's a way, if you don't have outboard gear, you can do this this same way. I'm going to use out through 4, right? And so I just make sure that that's up. I don't want pre, because I want all the sound that's been processed coming through, all right? And I'm going to record this audio onto a new track. But when I do it, all this mix here that's going through here and coming down this channel, all right, is going out of the computer to my EQ and compressor and coming back and then going down. right? So what I would do, this is another audio channel. It's a stereo audio channel. So I just make sure that I have a bus here, like 910, right? I would use 910, and then I make sure my bus out here is 910, so they're going to the same place. And then when I start to record it, it records, and it's all basically compressed and EQ'd, and it sounds really nice, okay? So, and I get a nicer finished quality, because if you have a look, when you see this, this is the original audio coming from the guitar through the interface, right? Now, it's not bad, but, you know, you can see that there's different strengths in the wave, right? You can see that. When I run it through the compressor, the Apple compressor and stuff, you can see it's a much nicer looking wave, I guess you could say. It's been compressed and EQ'd, it's been cleaned up, it sounds a lot nicer. Alright? And so that's what's happening there. If you don't have this, you can put a send. Alright? Let's see, you can send it to, say, 910, which is basically what we're doing here. And you can take that output off, but you're going to need an output to record it on, alright? So what I would do is that when you send it through here, you can simply put a compressor, just move this one down, put a compressor here, actually. Yeah, what you would do is, if you had that on there, deactivate it and just put a compressor on, say just go dynamics, find a compressor, let's use the grey, and you would put that on, set up your settings, and so when this comes out, you're basically doing the same thing. You're setting a compressor here, and you're printing the audio that you've recorded here onto this track. Okay, so you can do a similar kind of effect. Probably won't be exactly the same, but you'll have a slightly different effect because of the way that the plugin will dress it. Okay, but you can still do the same kind of thing. It's just going to, it just gives it a much nicer, cleaner, tidier kind of effect, right? So that's that. Now, we haven't really heard this, so maybe I'll see if we can have a listen. I might change a few things and see if we have a listen to this track, see how it sounds. What you're going to be hearing actually is all the you're going to hear all the final mixes. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of these. The drums is the same. When you set up the drums, I have a multi-track from Easy Drummer, and you can see that here. You just go to multi-channel, and you set up. You can decide where all the drums are going to go, and you make sure that your instrument tracks are basically lined up the same: Easy 2, Easy 3, Easy 4, Easy 5, Easy 6, so on. I also have a couple of channels that are spare. I have a drum verb. Okay, this is my reverb, and I'm basically just sending probably a little bit of overheads and a bit of snare to that reverb. Right? All these ones go through the mix into this channel. So they're playing through this. Now this is a bus channel. So yeah, you'll notice on the bus channel there's no record button. So you're not actually recording it, you're only hearing the mix. Alright, you need an audio channel, same as what I did with the guitars. You need the audio channel to actually record. Right? So all the mix is going to come down here, even with the reverb and stuff. It's going to come down through all your plugins and stuff that I showed before. And you're going to be hearing this. This is a bus channel. It doesn't record anything. It's for listening back. Okay. Then you can set up an audio channel, and you can print your drums. Okay, so I call it drum audio. You can call it drum print, or each instrument print, and so on. Okay, I'm just going to remove these, hide these as well. And I'm going to go through and do this for all of these. So as you can see, I'm doing different lead parts at different times, different mixes, things like that. You know, and so you need that extra sort of channel, lead 1 and lead 2, to have a bit more space to set things up. So the lead I've actually set up, I do record both channels at once because I've got a stereo going in, and I just do it that way. Okay, doesn't have to, doesn't matter. It's each person to their own, you know. So why don't we, so this is what we end up with, all right? I'll put this up here. And here's our master channel. Now this is not for mastering, this is just our final channel up here, okay? We're going to talk a little bit shortly about our levels, and that'll lead into other things like mastering and stuff. So why don't we have a bit of a listen? Look at these levels. So there you go, that's part of my song. I won't show too much more because it's still in the process of being recorded. But as you can see, we had some slightly different levels, like the drums were around 25, the bass was just over 20. This is minus 20 dB, the minus 20 dB levels. I think the guitar was a little up around the 20 and so on. And the master was sort of around the 17, all right, with a peak around 8 to 7. Thereabouts. Now when we master all this, and when I get all my mix getting a little smoother, I don't mind having quite a bit of headroom here, because all that's going to get squashed down a bit when we go to master it. Alright, so you want to make sure you have a little bit of that distance. It's okay if the peak is up here and your RMS is down here, that's fine. Make sure you have a bit of that. So that's basically how I set up my mix, how I run things, how I sort of get it all recording to external hardware as well, and bringing it back in the mix as well. I do have some external hard effects, but I don't use them too much. They're great on drums and things for reverb, but it can be very arduous trying to set that up when I can just use plugins. It does the same thing. And these plugins are probably a bit more modern than the effects I'm using, but I like the effects that I have anyway, the outboard effects. So guys, that's about it for now. That's my mix. Please like, please subscribe, leave a comment in the comments if you like it. I'm also on Instagram. Check out my website, wadecrow.net. You can see a lot more work that I've done there over the years. And look, you have to accept that you progress from a starting point to something better, better. Okay, so that's where you want to be. Anyway, Wade Crow, that's it for now. The Musician's Journal, episode 2. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.